Aaron the Dog back with breakdown number 2 on the day. I apologize for the delay, but this is the PFL 5 heavyweights and featherweights with an Anthony Pettis fight added to it. Breakdown here, just going to be me today. So I'll be honest, a lot of this PFL pretty straightforward this week, or so we think. There are a few spots here and there, and then there's always the judging. We've seen it over and over again. But I'm just going to kind of jump into it. We've got 4 breakdowns this week. We already got the UFC breakdown up early with Lewis of Norton MMA on the channel right now. Yeah, and the timestamps after this, but really good stuff there. Got the Cage Warriors breakdown tomorrow with Brad Wheeler of Cage Warriors veteran and Lewis of Norton MMA. So that's going to be an awesome show tomorrow for the Cage Warriors coming up this weekend. And then, of course, the Bellator breakdown as well is getting done tomorrow after the Cage Warriors. So lots of content coming on the channel. We'll keep it going, and let's just go ahead and get into it here. Heavyweights, featherweights, and an Anthony Pettis fight. Taking place from Georgia here, headlined by Cappelozza, champ, and Scheffel in the main event. If you don't know how that fight's going, I don't know what to tell you, but pretty obvious. We're going to see a lot of skewed lines here. For sure, with being the PFL, the heavyweights and everything. But we're going to start with a definitely one of the closer fights I feel on the card. Goji Kodo and Mr. Alejandro Flores here. Good fight at featherweight. I think it's going to be very competitive. Kodo actually impressed me quite a bit. We didn't know a lot about him coming into his PFL run, but he looked pretty good against Brendan Lanahan before that fight had to be called for a technical decision. And I liked a lot of what I saw. Alejandro Flores is very, very smooth on his feet, almost too smooth to his own good at times, but very good, smooth operator on the feet. Decent takedown defense, showed up against Saba, Buhagi, the German wrestler in the last fight there. But, for me, Flores is a little bit underperformed for quite a while now. We've seen him on the Contender Series and other spots here, but 21-3 against 10-3. It's a big experience edge for Flores here. I think Kodo could be the stronger guy, though. Looked very strong and big in his PFL debut there. I was pretty impressed by his performance overall against a very good fighter in Brendan Lanahan, who I rate quite highly. Flores is a similar type of lengthy featherweight here. Good striker, VFS Academy. 4 straight wins. Again, that win over the wrestler in Buhagi last time looked pretty solid there. The split against Deaton is what worries me more. That is not a high-level guy to be kind of fighting close. He does fight closer to his competition often to me. Rafael Alves obviously was able to get the finish in that fight on the Contender Series. This is a spot to me that I do think Kodo has a good opportunity to have an upset here. I think at times Flores lacks a little bit of aggression. I think that could come to bite him on the scorecards. Obviously, PFL judging is PFL judging, and MMA judging in general is tough. But yeah, I think this is a very close fight. It's an interesting fight. Again, I'm going to say this on all the cards, but the 4 fight cards, you're going to be selective here. I don't think you have to force a play here, but yeah, I'm going to edge towards Kodo here. I just think Kodo has a good physical kind of advantage here in the strength department that I think he could, if he's aggressive enough with the striking, could have some good fortune in this one. And I just think Flores is kind of average. And then UFC betting experience. Brendan looked a bit off versus Kodo. I'm not sure about that fight, but I like Kodo as a side. Agreed. Flores so average everywhere. That is also, a good thing, bad thing for Flores. He's average everywhere. He's good everywhere. Well-rounded is another way of maybe rounding that. But yeah, I think Kodo has a good opportunity at an upset. He's going to be comfortable second fight in the States here from Japan, looking very physical too. So Kodo is currently at a plus 155. I love that price. Minus 185 on Flores is much too high, in my opinion. I do think this is a spot that I like the dog in Kodo. So we'll move on to the next fight here, which is, speaking of which, we're starting out with 4 fights in the 145 division, which is kind of weird. But Brendan Lanahan versus Boston Salmon is the next fight up, and we were just talking about Brendan Lanahan and how he did certainly not look like his same self from the previous season. Looks like, kind of a little bit of wear and tear maybe for Brendan, but still, I think this is a spot that overall you're going against Boston Salmon. Boston Salmon, he's shown that he has durability and good volume after coming back from the brutal knee against Shane West and the brutal knockout, and just overall the chin questions. He answered some of those against Shaymin Moraes, and he had a decent showing. It wasn't incredible. I just think that he's in for a tough matchup here with Lanahan. Obviously, if Lanahan shows up a little flat like that Kodo fight, we could see a little more of an interesting fight, but I'm going to write that up as a one-off as of now. And I just think Lanahan is much more diverse. He's a longer striker. Boston Salmon is pretty much just a boxer, and he's a little bit smaller as well. And I do think Brendan is going to be coming out looking for points as well. He needs a finish in this one, in my opinion. And so, the points I think are going to matter. He, hasn't had a ton of finishes. He had the Shaymin Moraes finish, and otherwise he goes to a lot of decisions, fought Tyler Diamond close, lost to Movlid Carvalho, lost to the killer last year, and then obviously that close technical decision against Kodo. So that's 3 straight fights really against close guys, but again, guys who can really grapple, mix it up. This is a pure striking fight, and in a pure striking kind of MMA fight, I like Brendan Lanahan to get the win here. Minus 285. Don't love it, but I understand it, and I side is Brendan Lanahan. But on a card like this, you just gotta be careful. So because there are heavy favorites throughout. I'm gonna move on to the next fight, another fight at 145 pounds. We've got Lance Palmer, former champ. Really used to just dominate this division to a high degree. Taking on Shaymin Moraes. This is a really good fight. I think this is another one of the more interesting fights on the card here. Obviously, we know that Shaymin Moraes is the Muay Thai striker. He's going to go in there and he's going to look to defend takedowns, look to stuff the takedowns. He's shown that to be pretty effective part of his game recently, and even able to, and is Lance washed? If not, just should be an easy one for him. Yeah, that's the question for me. Lance Palmer looks close to the end at this point, to put it simply. If he is not able to get those takedowns, obviously he's going to struggle throughout this fight. And I think Shaymin could really build some momentum as this fight's going. 35 years old for Lance Palmer, but also 28 fights to the 19 of Shaymin Moraes. It's just with Lance, he's going to be at a size disadvantage here. He's going to have to reach disadvantage as well. It's just, for me, Shaymin doesn't have the tools to win this fight. And I don't think Lance Palmer is washed yet necessarily. I think when you look at the guys Lance Palmer is losing to, it makes a lot more sense. None of the guys he's losing to fight like Shaymin Moraes. So, and I mean that in a good way. He's lost 3 straight. Look at who the 3 straight are to. Bubba Jenkins, Mavalid, and Chris Wade, all by decision. Prior to that, the wrestling was very effective. He was on a good run there. I think that, he's now basically in a position where he's fighting this fight and knows that unless he gets a quick finish of Moraes, he's probably out. But I think that because he kind of knows he has to, regardless of how he fights, he's pretty much been close to eliminated. I think he's going to really fight his fight, and he's going to get those takedowns. Shaymin on his back isn't going to have much to offer. Lance hasn't shown much of a degradation in the amount of damage he can take on the feet and whatnot either. I just don't see Shaymin being able to land it. So I do like Lance Palmer here. But, for me, Lance, I think, could get a finish. But, most likely a decision. But Lance's only chance at playoffs is to get a finish. And, Moraes might put himself in some positions. I think this is a good price on Lance Palmer at minus 160. It also makes me a little nervous. I wonder if kind of there's some whispering and kind of some thoughts on how close he is to that washed. But I got to go with Lance Palmer to use the wrestling here to beat Shaymin Moraes, who went to a decision with Boston Salmon the last time out. Speaking of wrestlers, this next one is a good wrestler versus a better wrestler. Plain and simple. That's pretty much how you can put this fight. Bubba Jenkins versus Saba Buhagi. The good wrestler is Salmon Buhagi. The better wrestler is Bubba Jenkins, especially in MMA. Bubba should be able to basically just roll here. I mean, Saba lost to Flores last time out, struggled with the wrestling there. The stand-up pretty rudimentary, pretty low level of competition, and then win or lose, if you bet, it has to be Lance at a potential steal of -160. Fair enough. I agree with you. But yeah, with Bubba Jenkins, he's been looking pretty good overall. Definitely still, a very solid wrestler and still very relevant at 34 years old, going against the only 33-year-old German wrestler in Saba Buhagi. I just was not impressed at all by Saba prior to his PFL debut and after. Bubba should really win this. Please don't meme this shit, Bubba. Bubba is definitely a guy from the PFL that I feel I can count on this card. And please don't screw this up. At 34, coming off that win against Bochniak, did everything he was supposed to do. Looks very good. Was supposed to fight back in April, but Sung Boon Jo withdrew. Now he gets Saba Buhagi. Win over Moffitt. Chris Wade out-wrestled him in that fight and out-grappled him. I don't see Saba being able to do that, plain and simple. Bubba Jenkins beat Bobby Moffitt doing the same thing, beat Lance Palmer doing the same thing. He's going to beat Saba Buhagi. There's nothing to tell me otherwise. I like Bubba Jenkins in this spot. And at -360, it's not great, but I don't think it's terrible in this position where I really don't see the route to victory for Saba Buhagi, in all honesty. So after 4 straight fights at 145, we start our heavyweight portion of the card where I think maybe go 4 straight with the heavyweights. Same. I don't ever remember it being other than letdown and being a part. Never mind. It was Chris Wade. Yep. And then, so we're on to the next fight. Ali Isaev taking on Jamel Jones. Ali Isaev hopefully makes it to the cage for this fight. Who knows? It's been a while since we've seen Ali, and he's coming back against the killer be killed, Jamel Jones. Jamel Jones, he's not had the best run here, 34 years old against the 9-0 Ali Isaev. This is, to me, one of the first trap spots on the card. Right away, I look at the odds, and the odds are for obviously Ali Isaev at -500. I get he's 9-0. I get he's an Olympic quality wrestler. He's been off for 3 years. This is not a spot I would look to line up for Isaev, especially against a guy in Jamel Jones who either he's kill or be killed, but he does have the ability to put out guys as well. And I think that, the adjustment to coming back to live competition after 3 years to someone who's a little speedier and more powerful, like a Jamel Jones, could be kind of tough for him. I get the last 2 fights for Jamel have not gone well. Bruno Cappelozza knocked him out in round 2, Hendon Ferreira in less than 30 seconds. So it's been a tough run of it, but again, it's kill or be killed. He had that ground and pound finish of Clidson Abreu as well. In his PFL debut, he's knocked out, I believe, all of his wins in his last 3. He's just a finisher. He also gets finished. William Knight finished him. Bruno Cappelozza finished him. Ferreira finished him. Ali Isaev, 9-0, former champ, has not fought in quite a while. It's been since December 31st of 2019. He's now 38 years old. He's had some injuries, visa issues, and other things that have caused 3 canceled bouts all in 2021. Both athletes unable to compete at one, and then a withdrawal. So, again, there's been a lot of issues here. He's beat everybody put in front of him, a lot of decisions, like against guys like Carl Suman Tafa, Kevin Tiller, just guys that you should probably be finishing. And you leave Jamel Jones around, he could really, surprise you. He could spark you. For me, I am no way putting Ali Isaev at -500. Injuries, long layoff, skip for sure. But Jones KO would probably be the look for, me. Ferreira murdered him, but that was expected. It's kill or be killed here. And Ali Isaev doesn't lead me to believe he has that killer instinct, perhaps. So, Jamel Jones, you don't want to keep him around because I do think Jamel Jones can spark his opponent at any point. So I'm not saying I necessarily would say bet Jamel Jones. I just wouldn't bet Ali Yassayev at minus 500. Ali's really good, just too many questions. And he's 38. Yeah, he's got, I agree. So it's just a potential trap there, and I see that line getting larger before the fight. So I would steer clear. The heavyweights, they're big, and they got big lines. And Denis Goldstein up next again here, and this is just a pretty ridiculous line, but, it is what it is. Denis has looked good against Sam Kai here. It's another example here of, I think just different levels. We got the Tongan fighter who last weighed in at 206 for his last fight. He's now moving up to heavyweight. He's a big dog, obviously. And Denis Goldstein has looked good other than a few really bad moments. 2 straight wins here for Sam Kai coming in. Was supposed to face Goldstein back in April. And they had to cancel that bout. He was supposed to, because Kai withdrew, and they're like, you're getting Goldstein still. So not sure why he withdrew exactly. He was supposed to face Rob Wilkinson, who's a 205er. Dennis is going to be massive here. He's going to have a massive advantage on the ground. Kai has a puncher's chance, and that's it. I think Dennis most likely just looks to get this to the ground and probably just ground and pounder arm triangle him. 28-7, great experience, 32 years old, still Sambo style fighter. He's had almost great moments, and then he's just really fought terrible game plans. So there is a possibility he just chooses to stand and bang with Kai, but that would be extremely stupid. It's just, for me, I think Dennis is smart enough and knows what he needs to do in this fight. It's get to the ground and pound win, most likely for him here, or possibly a submission. It's been a while, so you can probably get, but inside the distance for Denis Goldstein. But you're paying for it. Even at inside the distance, I'm sure is probably minus 300 or something. You're looking at minus 800 open. I'm seeing at minus 700 still for Denis Goldstein. Nowhere am I betting that, but I'm not betting Sam Kai either. So, definitely if you like favorites, it'd make a little 2-leg finish prop parlay, nothing too serious, though. Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. And then 6-5. Yeah, exactly. We'll move on to the next fight here. But, Goldstein should, pretty much should roll against the Tongan fighter here in Sam Kai. All right. And next fight at 265 again. Next couple are as well. Delia versus Stuart Austin. Always good to see Stuart Austin popping back up on the card to get most likely finished. Stuart Austin coming off of a tough go of it in that first fight of 2022. He got knocked out pretty quickly to go to 15-8. Delia, walking trouble. Hard hitter, walks forward, pretty decent chin for the most part. I just don't know what Stuart Austin's going to really do. I don't know how much he's recovered from a pretty serious knockout in April of, 2022, where Bruno Cappelozza put him away with that ground and pound at the end of the first round. I just think, he's a lengthy, tricky guy, tries to get it to the ground at times. I think his best hope is to try to kind of tire out Delia here and do sometimes kind of question the gas and the ability to take damage from Delia. But Delia, big guy, 6'5", 79-inch reach, won his fight back in April to go to 20-5, knocked out Matthias Scheffel, who's not fighting in the main event, lost a decision to Bruno Cappelozza after getting knocked out the first time. And again, I think that Delia's chin is a little questionable and his cardio together, but I just don't think Stuart Austin is going to be the guy that's going to test that. I do think that Delia gets his chin tested again along the way here. Not here, though. Delia was supposed to fight Cyril Gane back in the day. Kind of interesting. I like Mr. Delia here in this fight. Minus 560. Your only real worry is the chin, but other than that. But again, minus 560. These are crazy high odds. It's making a lot of these quite tough to bet with the heavyweights. And I think we all kind of know that and we're aware of that. But yeah, Delia is my pick here. It's Stuart Austin. I just don't rate highly. I'd pick Sam Kai over him probably. I think Stuart Austin with Scheffel would be a very good fight. Actually, it wouldn't be. It'd just be close, I should say. But should be a good one. Moving on to the main card, we got Hendon Ferreira against Klidson Abreu. Battle of the Brazilians here, so you know there's going to be some extra sauce on this one, but should be a good one. Klidson Abreu, can't blame Ante for the Kappa KO. Kappa's got bombs for sure. The problem is that all these guys are still going to be minus 300 inside. Exactly. Yeah, you're going to be sweating and plenty of these heavyweights go to decisions too. So I agree, Armchair. We're just we find our spots, maybe cash on that Kodo dog early and just kind of enjoy the MMA card otherwise. But Hendon Ferreira versus Klidson Abreu, I think this is going to be a fun fight. Klidson Abreu, the white bear here, coming in at 16-5, 29 years old, coming off a win. So seems to be adjusting a little bit to heavyweight, although it was against Adam Koresh, a guy who he was really able to expose. Great game plan. I was all over Koresh in that fight. My bad. I apologize. I will admit when I'm wrong. And I was wrong there. Koresh was not ready for the experience of Klidson Abreu at all. And Klidson fought a great game plan. So props to Klidson there. Coming into this fight, much tougher situation against Hendon Ferreira. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, a giant, hard hitter. Really tough matchup here. I see Klidson Abreu getting his head boxed in a lot in this fight, but he's tough. So, it'd be interesting to see if, he's able to withstand some of the damage. But the last couple guys who've really gotten their hands on him have been able to stop him. Jamal Hill at 205 and Jamel Jones got the ground and pound finish in his debut. I just don't see the route to victory for Klidson here. Koresh is maybe the worst heavyweight I've ever seen. It was almost like he was joking with us. Yeah, I know. I agree, Armchair. I'm very embarrassed. I was such a Koresh believer before that, and that was really my bad. But who's going to win, Rick James? Which fight? There's a lot of fights here. But yeah, I like Hendon Ferreira in this spot. The striking, he's going to be long. I mean, where he's hitting Klidson at, Klidson's going to be so far from being able to strike him. Klidson's going to really have to break the distance and take a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu giant black belt down. I think maybe Ferreira sub, probably first round KO. Sub maybe sneaky. Yeah, I mean, Ferreira is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I really see the KO, though, so I'd be quite surprised if it was otherwise. Hendon Ferreira here. Problema. He's going to be like a foot taller. I think it's going to be a long or short night for Klidson. I'm quite surprised minus 400 you can find this price at, minus 420. I think that's a parlay piece for me. I know that heavyweights were worried. I get Klidson has a little bit of tools in his belt, but Klidson, when he gets hit pretty hard, he tends to go down. So I am going to give Hendon the KO finish, and I think minus 400 is decent. It's not amazing by any stretch, but we're on a card where we're seeing 7s, 8s, 6s. So, we got to work with what we got. Next fight, up back to 145. Yeah, it happens, Aaron. I was all over Gavin Tucker versus Ige, telling everybody to watch him. I mean, if you're picking fights as often as we are, it's going to happen. I will never hide behind a pick. I also picked Carlston Harris to beat Shavkat Rakhmonov. That one's really embarrassing. So again, I learned I put my money where my mouth is. So next fight, I'll never pretend I'm not wrong though. So next fight here is at 145. Let me just change my marker. Sorry about that. 145, Chris Wade versus Kyle Bochniak. For me, this is a pretty straightforward fight. This is Chris Wade all day. Kyle Bochniak is he's fading. I mean, he never was, at a big pinnacle, but I just feel that, he's getting up there at this point, 35 years old. I get Chris Wade is 34, nearly 35 himself, but I just think Bochniak still fights like a really, I just thought Bochniak really, fights like a young man. He's kind of a little bit unpredictable, and he just puts himself in a lot of situations that get kind of controlled on the ground, where Chris Wade is just going to kind of live in that world. Chris Wade decision. I mean, seems like the pretty straightforward play here for me. Chris Wade is improving on the feet as well, so I would not be surprised for him to show a little more of a stand-up here. I think Kyle Bochniak kind of suffers from some lack of defensive skills here. And, I mean, I just, to me, Chris Wade kind of wins everywhere. Decision, though, if he finishes Kyle, that would be a good fight. Yeah, and in that, obviously I think you can get a probably good price on a Chris Wade finish because he still is known as, as a decision type of fighter. But I like Chris Wade at minus 400. I think that's perfectly fine. And I agree with Visceral. It's my second parlay piece. I get Kyle's durable, but I don't think Wade's going to look to test his durability exactly. I think he's just going to take him down and control him. And I just think Chris Wade has a huge advantage there. So I like Chris Wade and, Ferreira as my two parlay pieces so far on this card. I would probably also add Bubba Jenkins. So I get it. We're working with high numbers here. And, but that's my opinion on it. Lanahan also should have a good night against Boston Salmon. So those four so far are ones that I'd be willing to work with on a parlay. We're on to the co-main event. I apologize for the dog barking in the background. Just Ziggy saying hi. Lance Palmer over Moraes, my favorite pick this card, Profitable Pig. Hey, minus 160. You're joining us on that. I like it. If sub is more than plus 500, I might take a stab. I'll take a stab with you, man. Why not? I agree with you, Profitable Pig. We all like Lance Palmer here as well. And minus 160, I think will look like a very nice steal after this. So good to have you here. I haven't seen you here before, but welcome to the channel if you're new here. Double-digit viewers again for the PFL here. I'm going to start doing Mondays more often. You guys are telling me you like the Monday shows, so I appreciate everybody being here. Really appreciate everybody who's subscribed, everybody who's liked, everybody who's showing love, man. It means a lot to me. I really enjoy doing this and work hard at it. You have become my favorite MMA guy, especially for the vague card. Keep it going. Appreciate it, Profitable Pig. Thanks, man. Keep it going. I like the vague cards. I like the big cards. I like them all. I love MMA. Next fight is our only fight at 155. Anthony Pettis has a showcase fight against Stevie Ray. This should be pretty interesting. For me, Stevie Ray is pretty washed at this point. I was a big Stevie Braveheart Ray fan in the UFC before the UFC and Cage Warriors. 23-10, only 32 years old, but has taken a lot of damage and beatings so far in a lot of his losses, unfortunately. Just to me did not look great in his PFL debut at all. It was a fight that I had quite a bit of expectations for the Scottish fighter. And, he just kind of came out a little bit flat against Alex Martinez. Alex Martinez getting a very generous decision against Clay Collard. And by generous decision, I mean Alex Martinez didn't win that fight. So, it was just kind of tough there. But, just really didn't show me a lot there in that fight. It just looked like a shell of himself. A lot of injuries. I think caught up with Stevie Ray along the way. And UFC betting experience still riding with Ray here. I respect it, brother. I'm not going to. I'm not saying I'm hitching my wagon onto Anthony Pettis, though. Anthony Pettis makes me nervous. I'm glad he's back at 155 where he's forced to stay in better shape. But I'm just wondering how much of the hunger is left at this point. I think that he beats and puts away guys like Stevie Ray, though. I really do. Stevie Ray takes a lot of damage on the feet. I think that Anthony Pettis is an underrated grappler. He is 35 years old, though, which is hard to believe. He did get that win over Miles Price in the last fight, so there is that. Used that jiu-jitsu. I could see him using the jiu-jitsu again here, honestly. I think that maybe we're seeing BJJ showtime for the latter half of his career. And I wouldn't mind that at all. I do think he has a grappling advantage. And I think on the feet, Pettis has an advantage. And to me, I just didn't see a lot from Stevie Ray to give me any sort of confidence to pick him. I respect UFC betting experience. always respect your comments, man. And yeah, Ray, if that Ray's your pick, I get it. I can see him being some people's picks, but for me, I like Anthony Pettis minus 200. Not saying I'm going to throw it into a lot of parlays or even necessarily bet it even at that price, though, because I do think it could get quite greasy. But again, I see a sub here. I hate to think a sub is live in 3 different fights, but I think it could be. High-level grapplers on the card. Yeah, I don't disagree with you either. Yeah, BJJ Showtime could be interesting from 35 to like 38. So I wouldn't hate it at all. Main event time. This is my lock of the night. I saw this fight announced. I laughed at it. Matthias Scheffel is a 205er with chin issues who's fighting at heavyweight. He got knocked out pretty ruthlessly in his last fight there, and I guess that earned him a main event against Bruno Cappelozza. Bruno Cappelozza is going to knock his head into the bleachers here. This is such a mismatch. It's such a bad matchup for Mattheus Scheffel. 15-8. All this guy does is get knocked out. I mean, that every time I've watched him live, he's gotten knocked out. The right cross from Delia put him to sleep against the cage. Asamat Mirzakhanov put him to sleep in his contender series fight at 205. Yeah, this is the lock of the century, dude. If Bruno Cappelozza loses, what do I even say, dude? I have no idea. I guess I'll shave my head again. Like, I'll do that one night. Cappelozza is not losing this fight. And if it makes it to a decision, I'd take that as a loss. So, yeah, Ray's best path is grappling. I could see a submission for Pettis. But, yeah, Bruno Cappelozza here. Absolute lock city, lock of the night to me. So, Cappelozza, KO, no surprise there. Yes, he's in my parlays inside the distance. But KO it's going to be. And his odds, I expect them to be enormous, and they're smaller than I think they should be. Minus 500, there's money coming in on Scheffel. Okay, give me minus 500. It's an all-in. I think Bruno Cappelozza should be in a lot of parlays this weekend. Obviously, with it being heavyweight, don't overdo it. But at the same point, he's gonna knock out Matthias Scheffel. I have no doubt about it. Bruno Cappelozza is faster, stronger, better. 33 years old. The 29 is, the only issue, but 33 is not old for heavyweight at all. Yeah, Bruno Cappelozza all day here is my pick. So just going back through the card, I do like majority of the favorites on this card. The underdogs, I think, are worth taking an extra look at and thinking about on this card for me would be Jamel Jones. Not saying I'm picking them, but Jamel Jones and Hyoji Kodo are my 2 underdogs I'm more seriously looking at. But otherwise, I think it's a lot of favorites. I think Ferreira is, a very underrated grappler. So, yeah, I'm surprised Glitzen's only plus 325 too. I'm surprised that Scheffel's plus 400. That doesn't make sense to me either. Minus 500 on Cappelozza seems like almost low. So a few odds are a little bit off here, but that's going to do it for the PFL breakdown show here. Again, it was a solo show today. I got the Cage Warriors breakdown tomorrow. Cage Warriors on Friday. We got 4 MMA cards this weekend, guys. So Cage Warriors breakdown with Brad Wheeler, Cage Warrior veteran. So very excited to have a person who's been in the cage many times, a very good fighter. Guy have a lot of good insight to give to us, along with Lewis of Northern MMA. We're always going to be in Cage Warriors. And the Bellator breakdown also coming most likely tomorrow, immediately after the Cage Warriors breakdown. Profitable Pig, UFC betting experience, Armchair, Visceral, everybody, Wesley Snipes, everybody has been, making an effort to join these live. I know they're at kind of a little bit all over the hours, but I'm doing the best I can. I run a business as I'm doing this full time, as I'm doing as much tape study and, just trying to, give my analysis. So everybody's followed, everybody's subscribed, liked, shared this. It means a lot to me. So looking forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Cage Warriors breakdown at 2 p.m. Eastern time, followed by the Bellator breakdown. And that's going to be it for the show today. UFC breakdown on the channel right now with Lewis of Northern MMA. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Good luck on your bets. Good luck on, good luck on it all, and I appreciate you guys all joining me on the journey here. Keep taking care of each other out here, boys. Peace. Now we're off. Apparently, I wasn't off yet. I guess that I